Hey everybody, it's Rachel with Rachel Q Stitches, and how are you doing today? Today is Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, and this is FlossTube number 50. 50. I'm so excited to have reached this number. If you're new to my channel, this is a channel mostly about cross stitch. I will do sometimes every now and then, once in a blue moon, something about quilting, or I might talk a little bit about a crochet project that I'm working on, which I don't think I've ever done. But, and then of course I give you a little bit about my life toward the end, and sometimes sprinkled in to the, to the regular showing. But today is mostly cross stitch. So thank you so much for joining me. And to everyone who is returning, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you coming back. I appreciate all your comments. I know I didn't get to answer everybody last week, but whew, yeah, I'll give you a little life update at the end, just in case you don't want to hear all that and you're just here for the cross stitch. So what have I been stitching on? My life is a whirlwind, so if I seem a little out there, more out there than normal, you'll at the end I'll tell you why. Anyway, so I am participating in Whip Go this year. This is my first year participating in Whip Go, and in January and February, which I was excited about, Pandemic was called. I started Pandemic during the pandemic in 2020, and I was working solely on it. I was a monogamous stitcher. That's all I stitched on, and I got a lot done, and then I started FlossTube and decided I needed to do more than one thing. And so Pandemic kind of got put aside, but I love it. I love the idea of it. I love how I'm working on it. So I did work on it this week. So here is the whole thing. Hold up, you'll see. There you go. This is the whole thing. Whoop, there it is. Oh, I love it. And this is what I've been working on right here. I have been focused on this bouquet in January and February. I worked 2 days on it this past week, and I got all these pink and mauve flowers done. I made a little counting error, so I had to adjust. When I make a counting error on Pandemic, I leave it. I'm not terribly worried about it. What I do is I make sure that, you see all these crisscross lines and everything, I make sure they're in the right space. So as long as they're in the right space, if it looks funny because of my counting error, I will either add or subtract something to make it look better. But it is called Pandemic, so there's that. So this is it. So I'm doing this on a 16 count Aida that I believe I bought at Michael's and or Joann's or one of those big box stores. And I am using a sampler box of DMC floss that my mom bought from me back in the 90s. And so it has one of every color up to them, but I do have I'll put my bag down. I do have a list of all the colors that we have now. And so I'm kind of, trying to use the newer ones to add those in there. So that is Pandemic. I'm still enjoying it, and I am still loving the way it comes out. And I think when I'm done, if I'm done anytime soon, I want to do something like it, but smaller and a variegated. I'd like to try that out. I have some DMC variegated that is purple and gold. So I think that would be fun to do. So anyway, okay. Another thing I worked on is I am participating in the Jeanette Douglas bouquet stitch along. This is a free stitch along on her website. If you're not, if you haven't heard of it, basically in 2020, Jeanette had a bunch of 12 or whatever classes scheduled, and of course they didn't happen. So she took the little bouquets that were going to be the project and she made them into one stitch. And so I am participating in that. And so this is it right here. I've worked on, I didn't finish any more border except for this this border right here. I did add some leaves and flowers to it, but I need to pick it up and really work on some borders. And then this is the bouquet for this month, for February. I'm using the call for DMCs. Jeanette does have a conversion to that. And so that is what I'm working on. And I love these little stitches. So far, I've not encountered any specialty stitches. And if I remember correctly, she said there may be one bouquet that has them. But I went ahead and did mine on even weave. And this is a 28 count. I'm not sure of the color, even weave. And that's it right there. So I'm loving these. They're very pretty. And right after... it's funny because right after I committed to doing this, and I'm trying to do just one yearly sub thing, Al Forrest came out with theirs. Oh, and it's so pretty. I was very tempted to do two, but I don't need to be doing that. I don't need to be doing two. Hold on, here's my paper. Oh, here we go. I'm doing that on a 28 count. The name's cut off. I think it's Coffee, Jobelin, Even Weave. I got it from 1223 Stitch. And look, it's cut off. Right there. So I don't know what it is. I'm gonna say it's Coffee. Because it looks like an F and an EE at the end. Yeah. Okay. All right, if you were here last week, you will know that I finished stocking number 1 in this book right here, Home for the Holidays. Kim, the Contented Stitcher, and Merritt Crawford are doing one a month, so I thought I'd jump in and join them. This is it right here. And when I showed it to you, I realized I had made a mistake, and I went in and I just fixed it. I am better at ripping out stitches and fixing them than I am making a stocking pattern bigger. And I kind of wanted them all the same size, but I mean, I bought the same fabric for all of them, so I kind of wanted them all the same size. So I went ahead and upped this, and then I left out one little emblem so that I could put my initial in the year. So that is, I fixed it. And then, so I started my next one for February. And I'm doing all of these on the same fabric, which is a 32 count Lamb's Wool Jobelin Even Weave by Witchell. And I am doing these using Sulky Blendables. And so for this next one, I am using 4077. And this is stocking 2. Which is called My Heart is Home. Now, I was going to do this in one, and I was going to count it as my February cross-stitch camp piece, but Kim pointed out that some of the pieces, like the window sashings, might need to be done a second color to emphasize what it is. So I dropped this from my official cross-stitch camp piece, and I just it's right here. Anyway, I'll show you the second color I'm going to use. So this is what I've done so far. I've not been able to put in a thread every day, but I have been trying to. I had to catch up a little bit. I think I did 2 threads this morning. So that's it. That's all I've done. And then the second color I'm going to be using is 1169. It's just kind of a solid. It's really different than the other colors that are in that variegated, so not quite sure what I'm gonna do, but I think I'm gonna use it. I think it's gonna do good. Okay, so that's stocking 2 and 1. Sorry if you knew what my house looked like right now. It's just, I have a little 3-foot space that's cleaned off on my table that I'm working on. Anyway, oh, the EMABC Sal that I am doing along with Shelly Proverbs3122, and I am doing this all on 28 count mystery even weave and linen that I have in my stash. Most of it is stuff that I inherited. So we are working on the letter O, which I need to finish in 6 days. And it stands for Owl and Oblong Rice Stitch. And this is what I've done so far. I found this piece in my mom's stash, and when I was going through them, because that's what I'm using for this piece, I found this and I thought, oh, this would look so good with the owl. And there's one O that's really, really big, and I'm going to do it this golden color to make it look like the moon. So that's how I'm doing this. So this is what I've done. I'll probably pick this up tonight and work on it. I'm settling in with, I'll tell y'all at the end. But anyway, I think I can pull out more than one color now. If you've been here, you probably know what's going on, but anyway. So that is that stitch. I'm really still enjoying these, and I really think when I'm done with them, I'm going to work on the Jeanette Douglas learning stitches that I have, because I am enjoying learning all these new stitches. And, you know, like I said, working on it has gotten me to branch out into even weaves. I still like Ada a lot for a lot of things, but I'm starting to really enjoy the even weave. So anyway, okay. Already showed you stocking 2. My February winter cross stitch camp. My Colorado cross stitcher, y'all. I'm sorry, Colorado cross stitcher. I feel like I'm rushing because my people are about to come back home, and I need to get this done before they're back because they're noisy. Colorado cross stitcher is doing winter cross stitch camp, and so the assignment for this camp was to pick a single color floss piece. And I'm doing a piece that I'm finding that a lot of us are doing because it's small and it's conducive to being a single color. That is Lace Makers Cottage by Stone Street Stitch Works. Gotta watch how fast I say that. So that's what I'm working on. This is also one of those pieces that I'm trying to do a thread in every day. And so this is all I've gotten done. I worked on it a bit yesterday. I was able to get some more done. And I think we have Bible study tonight, small group startup, so I won't be able to work on it tonight. Just remember that. So we'll see. Hopefully my life settles down. My routine has changed already. So I need to just embrace it and learn my new routine. So anyway, so that is my winter cross stitch camp assignment. I have a new start, and I'm so excited about this new start. This is a new start that I have been planning for a while, and the reason I haven't jumped into it is because I had to dye a piece of fabric, and usually when I dye stuff, it's tan, or sometimes I'll use the Dynafoot paints. And there was a really specific color I wanted, and Niecy Lynn had done 'Tis the Season in this color, and it was on a gray, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And so I knew I wanted to do it something like that, and I knew I had to use DMC, but I wasn't too sure exactly how I wanted to do it. Did I want to try variegated? I tried using some of their variegateds, and it just didn't look right. So I went ahead and I pulled out their DMC conversion. And so here is 'Tis the Season, if you don't know what I'm talking about. And this is my version. This is a 28 count even weave from Michaels, and this is what I've gotten done. So right here I used, I think I'm going to stick with this off-white variegated from DMC. But the rest I'm using blends if they tell me to blend, or just the regular DMC if they are telling me to use just the regular DMC. The bird, I'm going to use 115 because it is variegated. And I love the look of the variegated bird. And one of the ladies on the Blackbird Design Facebook group did her cardinal in the 115. I think it's 115. But that is my start. That was my new start this week. And I was so excited to get it done. I don't think I'm going to do... At first, I was going to do the French on the bottom right here. But I really want to leave it up year-round. I'm not one to take pieces down for the season. You know, little stockings and stuff like that, I don't mind. But frame pieces, I don't want it to be away for 12 months out of the year. I want it to be seen. I want to look at it. So, I'm going to either leave it off or I will put something else on it. So that's my new start. So I'm so excited about that. And I was excited to start it. I dyed the fabric. So I have just, you know, even weave from I don't want to say cheap even, but even weave from Michael's. It's Charles Craft. It's by DMC. And I used, in a quart of water, I put a teaspoon of charcoal gray and a teaspoon of tan. And that's what I did to get the look that I wanted. I think when Niecy Lynn did hers, I think she charcoal grayed some natural colored even weave. But I didn't have any. And I knew that if I didn't dye it, I was just going to keep pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. And so, because of circumstances, you know, with things going on, and I have a lot of fabric, and so I'm like, I need to stop buying fabric, and I just need to dye the ones that I really need. And so I have dye. You know, the Creative Reuse store that I go to here in town has a lot of half bottles of dye, and I shake them up really, really good. And then Michelle, Mama Loves You GB, filtered hers, and I thought, oh, that's a brilliant idea. So you don't get those little specks and stuff that might be clumps or whatever in your dye bath. So that's what I did, and I think it came out really, really good. I'm thrilled with it. I'm thrilled with how it looks, and I'll have some left over to do a couple of pieces, and I'm already thinking of some smaller ornaments that I want to do on that. So anyway, so that's my new start. So I was so thrilled to get that started. Anyway, that's my stitching for today. I'm going to go into my life update. If you want to hear about my whirlwind weekend, I will fill you in on that. If not, thank you so much for coming. So, many of you know that my son, my older son, and his fiance are moving down. And they'll be staying with us for, well, we thought a couple of months, but my son informed us that it won't be longer than a year. Anyway. So they are moving down, and my husband and our youngest son, our middle child, flew up to Nashville early Saturday morning. I brought them to the airport at 5 a.m., which I don't normally see 5 a.m., especially on a Saturday. So I drove them to the airport, and they caught a flight to Nashville. They had stopped in Houston, and that flight was a little late. And so kind of put them just a little late, but not terribly late. And my son and his fiance, they lived in a, you know, small 2-bedroom apartment. They, you know, they don't have a lot of stuff. Let me just put it to you that way. They loaded up that truck in 2 hours. And then my son and Tori, I'm going to just call her Tori. My son and Tori, they have a trucking / dispatch business. And so somebody had to drive the dually down, somebody had to drive the moving truck, and then of course Aaron had his vehicle. And so Tori was at work, and so they loaded up the truck, and James, my husband, and Zane, my youngest son, drove down in the dually and in the moving truck. They got in at 3 a.m. Luckily, my husband did sleep on the plane, but I mean, we're talking about an 1.5-hour flight, you know. And so at one point, he called me every hour. I'm like, how are you doing? Or I called him, you know, just, are you okay? Are you doing okay? We talked for, 20 minutes or so. And then finally he said, you go to bed. I said, no. I said, I need to keep you awake. He says, no, I'm going to call Zane. He said, I'm going to call Zane, and Zane and I are going to keep each other awake. And he goes, one of us needs to get a good night's sleep and be in a good mood the next morning. So then Aaron texted me, and he said, hey, he says, instead of us, waiting until the morning to leave, we're just going to leave right when Tori gets off of work. So Tori got off of work. They loaded up my grand dog, Gotti, Gotti is the reason why I've been stitching one color, because he's not used to me having my stuff everywhere. And I'm not used to him being around with my stuff everywhere. And so I just noticed these drawers are open, y'all. Excuse me, I'm organizing. Anyway, so they loaded Gotti and some of the rest of the stuff up in their car, and they started driving down here. They were about 3 hours later behind Zane and James. And they arrived at around 6:30 in the morning, which I was still sleeping. I was like, because I was up late. I was up late worrying about my guys driving back. And so we started unloading, and we unloaded the car. And so the dining room has been turned into my office, which we were using one of the bedrooms for that, which I'm fine. I mean, who uses a formal dining room? We don't. We all sit in the kitchen. We're fine. And so that, they took over 2 bedrooms. And then my son does music on the side. And so when he lived here, he had turned part of our garage into a music studio. So he asked if he could have that, which means everything that was in storage in the music studio had to be find new homes. But it's good because a lot of the stuff in there is stuff from my mom. And when we moved that I really need to go through. And I wasn't going through it because, out of sight, out of mind type of thing. So I loaded it all in the garage, and I said, look, we're still in the winter. Humidity hasn't really set in. This will give me time to go through it. So my goal is to take, a box or 2 a day and just go through it, unpack it, get rid of what I don't want. Most of you know when I moved down here, my mom was in the hospital. And so my husband packed up everything. And so we didn't go through things like we really wanted to say, I don't want to bring this to Louisiana, or I do. And so, it's just a lot of stuff I just haven't brought myself to go through. So, Aaron is forcing me to do that. He's not, but him being here. So hopefully I can get my stitching back. I can get my schedule back. I have a feeling, some stuff's going to have to be done in here. And we're just, God has given me patience, and he's given me peace during this time. And so I just feel okay about the whole thing, about them being here. I'm okay with it. Tori's very respectful of the fact that it is our home, and, we do have routines, and we've agreed to, give them their space. They've agreed to give us our space. And so it's just pray for me during this time. I was used to my quiet house and sitting by myself all day. So anyway, but that is my life update, and that is what's going on in our lives. And so stitching might be a little slow, but I did tell my husband I have got to keep up my YouTube. I said, these are my friends, and this is who I talk to. And so anyway, I thank you guys for your company. I thank you for listening to me and for chatting with me in comments. And for those of you who have YouTubes, for putting out videos where I feel like somebody's talking back. I showed my stuff, now you show yours. And I feel that's kind of how it is, like we're sitting around a table and I show all my things and then you show all your things, and we communicate via chatting and everything. And I just appreciate everybody for doing that, in this past year and everything we've gone through, and my emotional tears every now and then talking about whatever. I just really appreciate everybody. So thank y'all for watching, and I will see you guys next week. And keep those comments coming. If you're not subscribed, think about subscribing and liking and sharing and all that good stuff that helps our stations grow. I really appreciate each of you. God bless. See you next week, Lord willing. Bye.